All right. So our next guest, he calls himself Mr. Entertainment. Let's see if he lives up to it. Come on in, Gene.
Hi, Amber. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Gene. I've been looking forward to this conversation. All right. You tell us you're Mr. Entertainment. How did that start? When did you realize that you were going to be an entertainer?
Well, ever since the young age of 5 years old, I knew I wanted to perform. And when I first started singing in public at 14, it was probably my mother who pushed me the hardest. And then when I started to do acting and singing and DJing and emceeing and producing shows, my mother gave me the moniker Mr. Entertainment.
What were some of the early songs that you sang? Who were you singing?
Well, when I first started singing live, I did only Elvis Presley.
Only Elvis. Oh my. Was this the early Elvis or was this the later on Elvis?
Well, my voice matured when I was young, so I always had a deep voice. So I did the Vegas Elvis even at the age of 14, 15 years old. And we did that for about 20 years. And then I had which I did top 40. And then I started to do Blues Brothers. And now I do everything from Sinatra to doo-wop to disco.
What's your favorite Elvis song?
I have two of them. Burning Love is my
Yeah.
favorite fast song. And my favorite slow song of Elvis is My Way.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So, where do you do your performing?
Well, I'm based out of the New York tri-state area, but we've done cruise ships to Cuba, Alaska. I've performed, I think, in 46 of the 50 states, and just anywhere we could get a gig. You know, we've got a very good following here in the New York area. I do the casinos. I was the house Elvis at BB King's in Times Square for 8 years. And it's my life's blood. I love performing.
What other type of venues have you performed in? You said the casinos and
Yeah, a lot of Italian restaurants, pubs, a lot of parties, and a lot of charity work. I perform probably every day before the pandemic in nursing homes and hospitals to lift the spirits of the people that are in those facilities.
is this a living? Do you make a living by being Mr. Entertainment?
I do. With the help of my beautiful wife, Paulette, we realized about 15 years ago that entertainment made me happy. And my wife said, I'd rather you make 1,000 a week entertaining than 5,000 a week being aggravated. So why don't you focus on the entertainment? And that's when I started to produce shows, comedy shows, doo-wop shows. And then I got into the acting gigs. So, you know, before COVID, we were doing 5 to 10 nursing homes a week. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, either weddings, parties, or nightclubs.
Do you have a band that backs you up or do you use recordings?
It depends on the situation. When I do the nursing homes or the restaurants, I use the background tracks, which I sing live over. But when I do the casinos and I do the corporate gigs and I did BB King's, I have a band that I use. We started off back in the 80s with the band called Lightning. And then I went solo. And now we're back with the Gene DiNapoli show band.
Ooh, I like the name of that. That's very cool. So you said you go into acting. What acting gigs have you had?
Well, you know, I did many years ago as Elvis. I did commercials and little cameos. And then about 4 years ago, I decided to try out for a part in a John Gotti TV show called KINGPIN. And out of 5,000 Italian-American actors across the country, I was cast as one of John Gotti's friends, Angelo, and they flew me to South America for 3 weeks.
How was that?
It was an amazing experience. The first job I went out for, I got, and it was a lot of tension because we were in Bogota, Colombia, and at the time there was a lot of discomfort in the government. So we would film our scenes while we were ducking bullets from the military.
Who was in that show? Anyone that we might know?
It was a lot of people that appear on Blue Bloods. It was on the History Channel. Joe Corvino played John Gotti. Ralph Bracco played Neil Dellacroce. Roy DeMeo was played by Paul Tully. Craig Rivera played Sammy the Bull, and I played Angelo Ruggiero, John Gotti's best friend.
Did you ever meet any of the real people?
Uh, yes,
Perhaps. Perhaps. They don't call you Mr. Entertainment for nothing, do they?
I've been in business 41 years, and I've come across all sorts of characters in my travels. But I actually had a discussion with John Gotti when I was about 22, 23 years old.
And you live to tell it. Tell about it.
Oh,
You were doing entertainment going out before the pandemic, and have you started? Are you back out there now doing your shows?
yeah, it never stopped. What I wound up doing was a lot of charity work from my house. I was doing Facebook Live to raise money for different organizations because I was getting bored. And where I live in New York, right above us, there's a place called Westchester County, and they had a real relaxed COVID regulations. So we've been working throughout the pandemic once or twice a month, but to half a house. So, you can't charge people what you did pre-COVID. So I was actually working twice as hard to make the same money, but it was still rewarding in a good way.
How do you see New York? You opened up quite big, but now the mayor is talking about some closing down. Is it? What do you feel about that? What's going to happen?
Well, New York is the city that never sleeps, and we've rebounded from some major catastrophes, and we will rebound again. But I do see some businesses not reopening. It's not the way I would have handled it, but then again, I'm not in power. I think they jumped the gun when they closed down the city. I think it could have been done in steps. We're a city that thrives on tourism.
Yeah.
And if you stop tourism, you stop the economy. I don't agree with it, but who am I?
Do you see entertainment changing from what it was pre-pandemic? Do you see any new trends or any different approaches?
Unfortunately, the one trend I see is a lot of live shows, which really does not work well when you feed off an audience. I don't care how much you get paid for a show. If you're working to a camera, it's very hard to get a give and take.
Yes.
So, I don't do everything I do for money. Of course, money makes the world go round, but I do shows just for the sheer love of it. And when there's nobody to react off of, I get depressed.
All right. You've done all these things. What would be your ideal entertainment gig?
You know what, Amber? Between my podcast, comedy, acting, singing, all I want to do is bring smiles to people's faces. I don't care what form of entertainment I could do it as, but I am a born entertainer. And as long as I could do that till the day I leave this earth, that's my greatest reward. And bringing smiles to people's faces, whether it's 5-year-old children at the Ronald McDonald House or 95-year-old people in a nursing home. If I did that, then I've done my job as a human being.
That's lovely. That's a lovely thought. What's the largest crowd you've ever performed in front of?
About 16,000. We did an Elvis festival in the Midwest. There was like 10 guys. We did the life story of Elvis in a football stadium. And I was not only one of the stars, I was the MC. And the stage manager came into my trailer to tell me we were ready. And I said, how many people do we have out there? He said, 15, 16. I said, 100? That's great. He goes, no, 16,000. I said,
That's very exciting. Someone told me you do impressions.
Well, I don't do impressions per se, but with the Elvis and the Blues Brothers, I try to pay tribute to those acts. So it's not an impression like Charlie Callis or Rich Little. It's a tribute show is what it is.
All right, you mentioned two great performers from a bygone era. Who was your influence as growing up and as you entered the entertainment field?
Elvis, of course, was my main influence. I've been an Elvis fan since I'm 5. And Elvis lived his life as royally and as over the top as anybody. But then, of course, coming from an Italian household, Frank Sinatra. If Elvis was God, Frank Sinatra was Jesus Christ. My mother loved the doo-wop. My father loved the Italian. My stepfather loved a mix of everything. So I grew up everything from Al Jolson to Elvis to Motown to the Tramps, everything to Kiss.
Well, that's what's your next live gig?
Actually, tomorrow night in Pelham Manor in Westchester County in New York, I'm doing a summer concert in the park. It's a variety show where I do a little bit of everything. I like my variety show because I'm not boxed in to any one type of performer. So if I look at the crowd and I do a Johnny Cash song and they like it, I do another one. Or I do Neil Diamond, or I do Elvis, or I do doo-wop. It's a real out-of-the-box show, which is more entertaining than just Elvis or just the Blues Brothers, just this. It's a more rounded show.
When you do a show like that, are you by yourself, or do you have a staff, a crew with you, some techies, roadies?
My staff is my beautiful wife, Paulette, who runs my sound. And the show. Tomorrow night, Tommy, my sound man, is going to be with me. And then what I do to make it interesting, I invite 3 or 4 of my performer friends to come up, sing a song by themselves, and then we do a duet together. So every 15 minutes, I introduce somebody who I think is talented and I like, and I introduce them to my crowd, and then I do a duet with them. Like tomorrow night, we have a Victoria who does a Tom Jones song. And then we'll do a song together. We have Caroline Del Giudice, who's a wonderful 60s singer. We have Jeannie Claire, who does one of the best versions of Crazy. We just, we really mix it up every year. It's called the Gene DiNapoli Variety Show because I really think the variety shows of the past were truly entertainment.
If you didn't like what was happening, there was something new, something different happening in the next 5 minutes. I agree with you.
Oh.
I agree. Very good. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And please remember to subscribe to Amber Live YouTube channel. Just push that subscribe button, and I would love to hear what you think about the video. Leave us a comment, and I'll even write back to you. Thanks again. See you soon, and watch our show on Sunday nights. And tell your friends, too.